All right, we're here with Coach Lovett here.
Yep,
Let me
Matt
get to
D
know him.
and Max.
Yep. So first off, Coach, where are you from?
So I'm originally from Groveland. So I grew up
Okay.
in Groveland, and came to Pentucket, and then once I graduated college, I moved down to Boston, lived there for 4 years, and then kind of been back up in the area since.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
What's your job here?
I'm a teacher and coach here.
Nice.
Yeah, so teaching in the wellness and science departments, and then coaching football.
Nice.
So how long have you been working at Pentucket for?
This is my 11th year.
Wow.
I believe. Yeah.
You enjoy working here?
Love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your prior experience like past jobs?
So for me, after college, I got certified as an athletic trainer. So I worked primarily in that role for 8 years. So I worked at Boston College as an athletic trainer for 4 years, St. John's Prep for 4 years after that. During my time at St. John's, I did some personal training at Cedardale in Bradford. And then during that time, I started doing some adjunct teaching at Merrimack. One of my former professors kind of asked me to help him out. And I've been doing that since then. So that was probably around 2011. So I've been teaching at Merrimack at least 1 or 2 semesters a year doing that. But then after St. John's, I've been here at Pentucket since.
Nice.
So what's the favorite place you've worked at so far?
I'll be honest with you, I've loved every place I've worked at.
Huh.
When people ask me that question, I tell them if I stayed at any of the jobs I was at, I would have been completely happy. I loved my time at BC. It got to the point where I was, working a ton but not getting paid a ton.
Okay.
But if I had stayed there, my role would have changed a little bit. It's kind of funny. Right after I took the St. John's job, the basketball athletic training job opened up, so I would have been the athletic trainer for the men's basketball team.
Sweet.
Which would have been great.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Right, but again, so then I moved to St. John's, and I loved my time there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the people working with that, and then this opportunity opened up, and it was great. So I can't complain about any of them.
Yeah.
Each have had their positives.
Yeah.
Nice.
So out of all the, time you spent spending as a trainer, what's your best story that you've ever had?
Oh my God. There's a ton. One of as far as the environment aspect, I still remember my second year at Boston College. We were playing a Thursday night game at Virginia Tech. It was a ABC, 7:30 primetime game on ESPN. And that was a time where both of us were ranked in the top 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the place was just electric. The whole stadium was shaking. For me to talk to you on the sideline, I had to scream on the top of my lungs. We were down into the fourth quarter and then scored with under 2 minutes to go, kicked an onside kick, got the onside kick, scored with under a minute to go to take the lead and won.
Wow.
Nice.
And that was incredible. So I was on such a high of excitement, I wasn't even thinking of the time, right? So the game was, like I said, 7:30, 8 o'clock. The game's now 11:30. I'm breaking down the sideline, getting guys set. I come back out on the field, and I just immediately, instinctively, call my house, and not realizing, it's after midnight. My parents
Oh, my
are,
God.
probably in bed, but my dad picked up the phone right away and was still all excited from the game. So
That's
that
awesome.
was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that I could tell you for hours, stories.
You have a family?
Me and my wife live in Amesbury, yes.
Nice. Any
And
children?
then no children. I have enough children here at school. My wife is an elementary school teacher, so she kind of feels the same way.
Yeah.
But my parents still live in Groveland. I got 3 siblings. My older brother has 5 kids.
Oh, wow.
My sister just had her second, so we got a
Congrats.
handful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So who's your closest coworker here at Pentucket and why?
So my closest one, for a variety of reasons, is Coach Leary.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious.
It's, we share the same office, obviously, so we're constantly in the same room. But, I've coached with him for a number of years now, and we kind of, are on the same page on a lot of things with whether coaching, teaching, just outside of school stuff. So it's
Yeah.
been good. And then the entire wellness department has been great, working with Mrs. Kelly, working with Kate, and everyone that's been there.
Yeah. Nice. What did your parents do for a living while you were growing up? I know you mentioned earlier about your mom working as a teacher.
Yeah. So my mom when I was growing up, she was kind of like a paraprofessional. So when me and my older brother were working or growing up, she was just kind of staying at home with us. And then once we kind of got into middle school, high school, she started volunteering at Bagnall. And she did that for a number of years until my youngest brother got through high school. She went back, got her teaching degree, and she was teaching in Lawrence for a number of years. And then just recently this year, she took a different job at St. Augustine's in Andover, teaching kindergarten.
Nice.
My dad is a physical therapist. He's been a PT for close to 40 years at this point. Still does it. Still loves it. And that kind of got me into the sports medicine realm in the first place. Just seeing how every day loves going to work and enjoying it. So I combined kind of that medical side with the athlete side, which got me into sports medicine.
Nice.
So if you could teach in one other department, which would it be and why?
So I'm assuming you're excluding the science department since I'm kind of in both departments, right? Because my anatomy counts for science, the other ones count for wellness. I would say math, and that's kind of typical for people that are like math science people. They tend to work in kind of the numerical world. So I always gravitated to those type of classes. But it's not to say I didn't like the other ones. For instance, my younger brother is a history teacher.
Nice.
At Waltham, so he gravitated to the history side, but I've always been kind of math science.
If you could pick one specific area to teach math in, which would it be?
Oh God, it's been a while since I worked in the disciplines. I would say probably statistics, because when you're doing experiments, you're dealing more with those numbers. When you're in my field in college, that's the math class that you were required to take, is a stats class. And one of my graduate classes was kind of dealing with that and kind of helped me understand the business side of things as far as checks and balances and making sure that things even out, which obviously helps with budgetary stuff as well.
Nice.
Back to the classes you teach.
Sure.
Which one is your favorite and why?
Well, I would have to say, depending on who's going to listen to this, all of my classes are my favorite. That's kind of something I learned from one of my strength and conditioning classes. Is someone had asked the strength coach of, what's your favorite team to work with, and he would always say, whatever team's in there now, right? I'm working with everyone, which is true. I love all my classes that I teach. I would probably gravitate more towards the anatomy. It's what I've used the most within my career, and it's what I've been doing the longest. So you develop a comfort with that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty much wraps it up, I think.
Yeah, I think we're good from there.
Anything else you want to know? Anything else you need to hear? Anything you want to go off the cuff? Riff?
Favorite food?
Favorite food?
Yeah.
Prime rib.
Prime rib.
Yep.
Never been much of a prime rib guy.
Yeah. Are you, or you said you
No,
are?
not really.
No.
I like fillets, honestly.
Okay. Yep.
Fillets are probably my favorite.
Well, I mean, if I'm not opposed to those either. Trust me. I remember growing up, I would have you always love a good cheeseburger sub or something.
Oh yeah.
That was the go-to if my parents getting takeout after a game or something.
Yeah.
You could have one meal for the rest of your life. What would it be? Think a main dish, a side, and then a drink.
Oh wow. That's a great question, because I'm not one to turn down a lot of different foods. I mean, obviously I lend to more of the steak side of things, so probably a good filet mignon or something like that. Maybe some a little lobster, seafood on the side, a little surf and turf. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
All right.
I could go with that.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's just about everything we got
good?
for you. So.
Wraps it up.
Yeah.
Pleasure interviewing you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys were great.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Happy to help anytime.
Anytime. All right. That's Matt Max with Coach Lovett. Get to know Coach Lovett. Have a good night.